Hi everybody, Kevin here from On Waves Design, and I've recently been asked how to size my photos so that they all look even when I put them on the website. So I thought I'd make this short video to show you how to properly size your photos, how to properly set them so that they are web ready, and how to actually put them on your website so that they look clean and all in the same format. And the best part about this is I'll be using completely free tools, so I'll put the link in the description below for you to check this out. This is great for people that maybe know how to use Photoshop but don't have Photoshop, or don't have Photoshop or any means to any free tools and don't really know what to do. So we're going to get started here by going to photop.com, and you'll see up here in the URL photop.com, and this is a free service that basically acts like Photoshop, but you don't need to pay anything for it. So I'm going to show you what my website looks like right now. You see I have these three artworks here, and they're all different sizes, so it looks a little wonky. So what I want to do is make it so that they're all the same size and they line up and they look good. And I'm using Elementor for WordPress, so if you have a WordPress website, you can download the plugin for Elementor, and it is free and it's really easy drag and drop system. So going back to Photop, I'm going to File, New. I'm going to name my project Photos for Web, and I'm going to make the width 500 pixels and the height 500 pixels, just so everything is square. The DPI I'm going to leave at 72 because we're working on web, and I'm going to leave the background as white, and I'm going to go ahead and create. So one thing that I like to do is I like to open and place. So I went to File, Open and Place. And now I'm going to go into my file and find my photos. All right, and I have a Dead Rise hiking, the candle, and the pumpkin patch. All right, so they're all there. And now, if you've ever used Photoshop, you'll know that in order to move forward, you need to click this arrow that says confirm. If you haven't used Photoshop, when you're using Photop, you need to click this arrow that says confirm. Okay, so now I have all my photos on my artboard, and I have 4 layers actually, including the background. So I'm going to click on this eyeball, which makes it so that whichever layer the eyeball is on is showing, and when the eyeball is off, it is not there. So I'm going to start with this photo right here, and right now you'll see that I'm just moving this around and there aren't any transform controls. That's a really easy fix, and it can be really annoying if you don't know how to fix this. Go up into this top bar and click transform controls, and ta-da! Now you can change the size of this. And that works for Photoshop too. So if you're going to change the size, you want to make sure that you hold Shift and then drag the arrows. By holding Shift, it retains the image quality and the size of the image. So if I was to just grab the box without holding Shift, you see that I stretch it, and then it's hard to get back to where I want to go. When I hold Shift and I hold the box, you see that the image changes size proportionately. So that's something to keep in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create basically a frame for my picture, so that this white box is what's going to be framing my picture on the website, so that all the white boxes are going to be 500 by 500, and in these white boxes will be these pictures. And that is how I'm going to make it so that everything looks clean and even. So essentially what I did was I just shrank the picture down so that it fits into the artboard with a nice border around it. You can take the extra mile and you can add an effect. So if you go down to the bottom right hand corner where my mouse is and click effect, you can add a drop shadow. This is kind of fun, and I do this a lot, probably more than I should, but I like it, so I'm gonna just keep doing it. And using these controls in here, you can make this drop shadow look however you want. You can have it going above, to the left, down below. I typically like having it on the right. The opacity is going to control how much light is being shown on the drop shadow. So opacity comes from the word opaque. So if it's opaque, you can fully see it. If you lower the opacity, then it becomes lighter. So I like it to be a light shadow. The distance is going to be the reference of how far out the shadow comes from the picture. So if you see I do this, if I bring the distance all the way up, the shadow is like way off to the bottom right. I generally don't like doing anything too extreme. The spread is going to refer to the edges of your shadow. So the lower the spread, the more blurry your edges will be. The higher the spread, the sharper your shadow will be. And the size is in reference to where the light is on your object. So if the light is closer or farther, it's going to affect how big the shadow is. So that's what I'm going to do there. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Export As, and I'm going to click on JPEG. All right, so this part is pretty important. The quality of the photo, you want it to look really good. You want it to be as close to 100 as you can get. But for web, you want to make sure that your photo is below 100 KB. So if bringing it up to 100, bringing it up to 100% quality makes it so that you're over 100 KB, then you might want to drop the quality a little bit. And it's okay because it's web. You're using a JPEG, it's kind of lossy anyways, and you can get down to 93%, which is fine, and that cut the KB like way in half. Now this is good. The reason that you want to do this is because the size of the photo affects how the web page loads. And that's really important, and I think a lot of new designers and a lot of new web designers don't fully understand that. You don't want to just be putting any kind of picture on there, because if your picture is way too large, then your website is going to move really slow. It doesn't matter what plugins you put on it to try to speed it up, your website's going to move slow. So you want to take these initial steps of optimizing your pictures and your websites before you even get to the on-page optimization for your website to be fast. So keep that in mind. I'm going to save this. And one thing that Photopea does that Photoshop doesn't do is when you click save, it automatically names it what you named that project. So that's kind of a downfall. Again, it's a free service, so you can just go in afterwards and change the names. When I save this, it's probably going to be photos for web 1, photos for web 2, photos for web 3. And the name is important, but for the sake of doing this, we're going to let it be, and we're going to go back and name it afterwards. And now I'm going to do it again. So what I did was I hid the first image, and now I opened up the second image. And now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And if you want to take that first image for reference as to the size, it's a good idea. Again, I'm going to go down to Effects. I'm going to click Drop Shadow. And because we made those settings the first time around, they're just going to be there automatically. So work is done. File. Export as. JPEG. 93. We're under 100 KB. Looks good. Save. One more time. Hold Shift to shrink it down. Going to Effect, adding a drop shadow, OK. File, export as, JPEG. We're under 100 KB. Save. All right. So now I'm going to make a folder. And now I'm going to change the name of this to Pumpkin Patch Artwork. Now this is where the title comes into play. So when you have a picture on the web or on email, you want to make sure that you're giving it the right name on the web, because when you have the right name, it will be picked up with search engines. It will read it as Pumpkin Patch Artwork, and if I add in an SEO word like illustration, then that will get picked up. And for emails, if your email ever goes to the junk folder, then the pictures are not going to show up. And when the pictures don't show up, it's going to just give this title. And this will let the people that are looking at your currently junk mail know if what you're sending them is actually junk mail or if it's important. So if the photo just says photo from web, they might look at that and say this could be spam. Or if it says image 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 100, you know, this looks like junk. But if they see that the image title is Pumpkin Patch Illustration, okay, well now I know that this is an image of an illustration and it's an image of a pumpkin patch. And that gives me the information I need to now move this email from junk to my mailbox. So that's very important. Skull, touching candle. I know I have kind of creepy illustrations, and these are all illustrations that I've made myself. So if you like any of them, there's also a link to my shop in the description. So my work is there, my wife's work is there. On Waves Design is a one-stop shop artist company. So we do illustrations, web design, graphic design, all sorts of stuff for businesses, small businesses, large businesses. And then we also do our own artwork that we sell online and sell at farmers market. So here's a quick little shameless plug, and we'll put all that information in the description. So anyways, again, illustration and photo for the web. So we're going to change this to skull hiking illustration. All right, so now I've named my files. And next I am going to go back to my website. Here are my 3 files that are different sizes. If you've ever used Elementor, I'm not gonna go over it right now, but if you have used it, then you'll know how to change the pictures out. And if you haven't used it, let me know in the comments below and I can make a video showing how to use Elementor and how to build web pages using that. Again, Elementor is a free plugin for WordPress. So everything that we're doing here is free. You don't need to spend any money on tools. Everything is free. So I'm going to choose an image. I'm going to upload my files. I'm going to find that folder that I just made. I'm going to add all of these. Okay. And I could just go right ahead and upload this, but I'm going to tell you about alt text and the importance of an alt text. So the alt text is where you want to stick all of your keywords for your images. This is another way that search engines are going to find your image and find what your image is depicting. So if my keywords are illustration company, then that's what I want my alt text to be. And then I'm going to insert. Alrighty, we're going to do that again. We're going to choose the next image. And now we're going to choose that image. You'll see that the images are now inlined and the text is all inlined. And this is how you can make a nice, clean web page. So that's all I got for this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want to see some other tutorials, leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for more things to make videos about because this channel is pretty new for us. We have a few videos on there now, so I invite you to check them out. And we want to grow this and we want to help because part of our business model is to be helpful to other designers and artists that are out there. So if you like this, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Give us some topics and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much.